Morning students. So in this class we are going to discuss wastewater treatment. So you know that there are different contaminants. That will pollute the environment. So among the different pollutions, we have seen different pollutions. First one is air pollution. Second one is water pollution. Third one is sand pollution. So there are different factors that causes damage to the environment. So what are the causative agents for wastewater treatment? So there are certain effluents which are coming from household purposes or from industrial usage. So whatever the effluents which are coming from the household purposes or industrial effluents which leads to the damage of the environment, that is nothing but environmental pollution. So the pollution may be of air pollution, water pollution or sand pollution. So in this class we discuss wastewater treatment. So whatever the effluents which is coming from the household purpose and industrial uses. So the wastewater has to be treated in order to prevent the environmental damage. So there are certain methods adapted to treat the water that is coming from the effluent from household purposes, industrial usage. So coming to the wastewater treatment, there are different methods. Which includes first one physical method, so which is having different methods. There is screening. So in physical method we have screening, mixing, sedimentation, flocculation and filtration. So these are the different physical methods that have to be adapted to treat the wastewater. Coming to the next, chemical method, which includes precipitation, disinfection, extraction, precipitation, disinfection and adsorption. And third one is chemical method. So third one is biological method. So these are the three different methods of. So biological method includes microorganisms of aerobic or anaerobic in nature. So we can use either of these microbial organisms. So these are the three different classification of methods based upon the function. That is physical method, chemical method, and biological method. Next, based on treatment. So we have preliminary treatment, second one is primary treatment, third one is secondary treatment, fourth one is tertiary treatment. So these are the four different types of treatments. This is only treatment on what is the way of treatment. These are the four different types of methods which are used to treat the wastewater. So among the preliminary, which includes screeners, grid chambers, skimming tanks, these are the different preliminary treatments. Next, primary treatment, which includes sedimentation, which are also called as settling method. So among which there are different types of sedimentation. One is discrete sedimentation, flocculent sedimentation, zone settling, compression. So the primary treatment, which includes sedimentation, major primary method is sedimentation. So among the sedimentation, there are discrete sedimentation, flocculent sedimentation, zone settling, and compression. Coming to the secondary treatment. So there are two categories. One is aerobic, suspended, suspended growth method. So which includes activated sludge process, next one trickling filters, and the second one is anaerobic suspended growth, So anaerobic suspended growth, which includes, the example is biodegradation of water, So which is having different steps, that is hydrolysis, acidogenesis, and methanogenesis. So these are the different methods in biodegradation of water. Next one is tertiary treatment. So in tertiary treatment, we have solid removal, fluid removal. Next, biological nitrogen removal, biological phosphorus removal, and disinfect. So these are the different methods of treatment of wastewater. So if you see the diagrammatic representation of wastewater treatment, so the sewage water, so the first step is screening. After that, it has to be sent to heat chambers. Then it is have to primary sedimentation, which is passed through aeration tank. Secondary sedimentation, and finally tertiary treatment. And first, from primary sediment, the effluent is called as secondary sediment, which is sent to sludge digestion. So this is the diagrammatic representation of wastewater treatment. So whatever the waste, that is sewage, so up to heat chambers, it is called as preliminary treatment. So in preliminary treatment, the sewage has to pass the screening, that is physical method. Next, heat chambers. So heat chambers. So up to heat chambers, it is called as preliminary treatment. From primary sedimentation, secondary sedimentation is called as secondary. That is primary treatment. And in sludge treatment, it is called as secondary treatment. So whatever the sewage which is coming from the household purpose or industrial purpose has to be treated in order to reduce the contamination of the environment. So it has to pass through the first sewage water has to pass through preliminary method, preliminary treatment, which includes screening and heat chambers and skimming tanks. So that is the preliminary treatment. So from preliminary treatment, the major process is sedimentation, which is called as primary treatment. So we will sediment with waste floccules in this process. That is, which is you can achieve sedimentation by discrete sedimentation, flocculent sedimentation, zone setting, and compression. So by using these different types of sedimentation method, so primary treatment will be carried out. So there will be two tanks, that is primary sedimentation tank and secondary sedimentation tank. So whatever the effluents, whatever the sediments will go for sludge treatment. So the use of primary sediment and secondary sedimentation tanks is called as primary treatment. So primary sedimentation tank and secondary sedimentation tank. So the use of sedimentation tanks in will be done with primary treatment. Will be done with primary treatment. So from primary treatment, whatever the sediment will go for sludge digestion, that is called as secondary treatment, and finally sludge is discarded. Sludge is discarded. So the secondary treatment, which includes aerobic suspended growth method and anaerobic suspended growth method. So which includes activated sludge process, and trickling filters. So which comes under aerobic suspended growth method. Next one is anaerobic suspended growth, which is the example of biodegradation of waste, biodegradation of water. So it can be done by hydrolysis, estosis and methanogenesis. So the three steps which are involved in biodegradation of water. Based upon the function of how the wastewater is treated, there are three different methods. One is physical method, second one is chemical method, and third one is biological method. So based upon the function how the wastewater is treated. So physical method is screening method, which includes screening, mixing, sedimentation, flocculation and filtration. So this physical method, which includes preliminary, primary treatment methods up to filtration. Whereas chemical method, which includes precipitation, disinfection and adsorption, which includes secondary treatment. Whereas biological method, which includes aerobic and anaerobic microbial organisms to degrade the biological waste. There is biological method of treatment of water. So coming to the treatment, based upon treatment, we have preliminary treatment. So the first, the water which is coming from the effluent as an effluent has to pass through the preliminary treatment, and primary treatment. So the preliminary treatment, which includes screeners. So in these screeners, so large particles, large suspended pollutants which is present in water has to be removed. So grit chamber is a small chamber which blocks the sedimentary particles, and swimming tanks also will be the same. So that will be the preliminary treatment. Coming to the primary treatment, so we have sedimentation, which is also called as settling tank. So in settling tank, we have different types of sedimentation process. One is a discrete sedimentation process, flocculation sedimentation, zone setting and compression. So in discrete sedimentation, the particles will be sedimented based upon size, flocculent sedimentation, the sedimentation will occur as a large mass of particle, that is floccules, and zone setting. So zones will be formed while sedimentation and compression. So all the material will be compressed at the bottom of the tank. At the bottom of the tank. At the bottom of the tank. So that is primary treatment. Coming to the secondary treatment, we have two types of methods, that is aerobic suspended growth method, aerobic suspended growth method, which includes activated sludge process. Next one is trickling filters. Trickling filters. In aerobic suspended growth method, we have biodegradation of water. So this is an example of aerobic suspended method, which includes hydrolysis, estrogenesis and methanogenesis is in steps which is involved in biodegradation of water. So these are the different methods. So that wastewater is treated. How the wastewater is treated. So starting with the effluent which has to pass through screening and grid chambers, which is called as preliminary treatment. So from preliminary treatment, which has to enter into the sedimentation tanks, there will be two sedimentation tanks. One is primary sedimentation tank. So whatever left over from primary sedimentation tank will enter the aeration tank, and from aeration tank to sedimentation tank. So whatever the sediment remains of sedimentation tanks will reach as the sludge dilution tank. So sludge dilution tank, which is called as secondary treatment. Secondary treatment. After secondary treatment, the sludge will be discarded. So whatever the remnants of secondary sediment tank will pass to the tertiary treatment. So the tertiary treatment includes solid removal. Whatever the solid suspended will be removed, and mostly nitrogen and phosphorus are precipitated as a solid, which can be removed, which has to be removed. That is biological nitrogen removal and biological phosphorus removal. And finally, disinfection. Mostly we use chlorine. Chlorine as a disinfectant. Chlorine as a disinfectant. So this is tertiary treatment. So the chemical method. So tertiary treatment is comes under chemical method. Preliminary, primary, and secondary which comes under physical method. So based upon the type of function, based upon the type of functionality, sewage water can be treated by using three methods. One is physical method, which includes cleaning, mixing, sedimentation, evaporation, and filtration. That is physical method. Whereas coming to the chemical method, which includes different chemicals in order to remove the wastewater contaminants by precipitation, disinfection, and adsorption. And last one is biological method. So the biological method, which involves the use of microbial systems, either aerobic or anaerobic systems. So these are the three different methods based upon function how the wastewater is treated. And based upon the treatment, we have different methods. One is preliminary treatment, One is preliminary treatment. So this preliminary treatment, which includes screeners, this grid chambers and skimming tanks. So whatever the large suspended pollutants which are suspended in the wastewater will be blocked, will be removed by preliminary treatment. Coming to the primary treatment, whatever the molecules left over after preliminary treatment. So the small micro particles, small micro pollutants, so which are removed by the sedimentation, or it is called as settling. So in settling we use different types of tanks for settling, which is called as primary sedimentation tanks and secondary sedimentation tanks. So this sedimentation can be of different types based upon the particles in which based upon the particles, size of the particles they are sedimented. How the particles are sedimented. One is discrete sedimentation, next one is flocculent sedimentation, next one is zone setting, and next one is compression. So this is primary treatment. Next one is secondary treatment. In secondary treatment we have two methods. So one is aerobic suspended growth method, in which the pollutants are removed by activated sludge process. The sludge is treated to form activated sludge, that is activated sludge process, and use of trickling filters. That is aerobic growth suspended method. And coming to the next method is anaerobic suspended growth method. So mostly anaerobic conditions, we use anaerobic conditions for the treatment. So which includes biodegradation of water. So which is of different types, different steps, having different steps. That is hydrolysis, acidosis and methanogenesis. So which comes under secondary treatment. And coming to the tertiary treatment, so which includes different steps, different methods. One is solid removal. Next one is biological nitrogen removal, and biological phosphorus removal, and disinfection. So these are the different steps which is involved in tertiary treatment. So coming to the overall process, so wastewater treatment is combination of different treatments. One is, so first it has to pass through preliminary treatment, second it has to pass through primary treatment, next secondary, and finally tertiary treatment to remove the sludge. So the sewage which has to pass through screening and grid chamber, which comes under preliminary screening. So starting sewage water through grid chambers. So the sewage water has to pass through screeners, and from screeners it has to pass through grid chambers. So this comes under preliminary treatment. So whatever the remnants of the wastewater will have to pass through the sedimentation tanks. One is primary sedimentation tank and secondary sedimentation tank. So the particles get sedimented. So either by using discrete sedimentation, flocculent sedimentation, or zone setting or compression. So these are the different methods that is going to be happening: primary sedimentation tank or secondary sedimentation tank. So what are the effluents? What are the remnants of the sedimentation tanks has to enter into the first sludge edge. So the remnants of primary sedimentation tank and secondary sedimentation tank has to enter into the sludge edge, and from sludge edge it has to be removed. So the such treatment either may be using aerobic suspended growth method or anaerobic suspended growth method. So aerobic, which includes activated sludge process, and trickling filters, which is in aeration in aerobic conditions, which has the process occurs in aerobic conditions. And some of the immunity has to pass through the tertiary treatment. So the tertiary treatment, which includes solid removal. So solid removal mostly will be happens solid part of the remnants of the treated sludge has to pass through the tertiary treatment, which includes solid removal. So remnants, so whatever the remnants after primary and secondary treatment, the remnants after primary and secondary treatment will enter for the tertiary treatment. Will enter for the tertiary treatment. So the tertiary treatment, which includes solid removal, biological nitrogen removal. So mostly, so nitrogen and phosphorus are able to remain as a pollutants that can be removed by biological nitrogen removal or biological phosphorus removal. And then finally with disinfection. So for disinfection, chlorine will be used. So whatever the treated water from tertiary treatment will left over to the water flow that is used for agriculture or domestic purposes. So the treated water, which is treated with primary, secondary and tertiary treatment, will be left over to the flow water, flowing river or flowing water. So from which it is to be used it has to be used in agriculture or domestic, but not for drinking purposes. It is not used for drinking purpose. So it is only used for either agriculture or domestic purposes. So this is about wastewater treatment. So in wastewater treatment, so the wastewater, whatever the effluent, so the water which is not suitable for drinking or any purpose is called as wastewater. Mostly wastewater in the form of semi-solid or called as semi-liquid because of suspended particles, suspended pollutants. So the effluent which is coming from the household purposes and industrial usage will be present in the form of semi-liquid or semi-solid. You can get semi-liquid or semi-solid because of suspended pollutants. So whatever the pollutants will be suspended in the water, so it behaves like a semi-solid or semi-liquid. So this semi-liquid material, which is called as sewage, sludge. You can call it as sewage sludge. So this sewage sludge has to be treated with either of these three methods based upon the function, that is physical method, chemical method and biological method. And based upon the treatment, based upon the way it is treated, that is preliminary treatment, primary treatment, secondary treatment and tertiary treatment. So the primary treatment, which includes screeners, use of large to where the suspended particles will be removed, get chambers and skimming times. So next, primary treatment, secondary treatment and tertiary treatment. So overall, what are the effects? Overall, the water which is coming from this treatment will enter into the flow water. So which is used for agriculture purpose or domestic purpose, and not which is not used for drinking purpose. So this is all about the wastewater treatment. Thank you.